obviously you can tell I'm late because the windows or the curtains open and there's starting to be light. And I now have a cup of tea, so, and I'm gonna be like all over the place. Like I don't even know what I like. Like I know kind of the things that I want to talk about, but it's like I'm not really quite sure. It's like there's a lot of stuff. So, anyways, I think it's gonna be just kind of like all over the place. For one thing, there's so much movement in Australia and England and in Canada. And even when the movement is coming in hard in the negative, that pushes so much to create the positive. And so, but there's so much like disclosure, prime minister speaking out, just like in Canada, it was the health minister or something. There's one in England, and there's somebody in Australia. Like all these people are speaking out, kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's out there in the forefront saying, what's going to go down with the investigations on Joe and them. And she is like, it's so huge. There's so many, like everyone in his family is taking payoffs and shit. Like, it's kind of like, oh, you want to meet my dad? Okay, here, give me $1 million and you can come meet him. Like, it was weird. Like, these people are weird. Like selling, I think it's called selling influence or something. But anyways, they've got all sorts of tax stuff, they're all going down. But that was made clear in 2020 when he went in that it was to expose the crime institution that we let govern us. And there's a huge one. I guess there's going to be something really huge that is about to be disclosed. A whistleblower is about to go and explain about how the government is all apart. And all these different states are having people be arrested. It's making the paper all over the place. The people, it's judges, it's lawyers, it's all people who are involved in judicial and politics, government, all of that. People who sat on councils and stuff, they're all being arrested in all these different places, and they've all got links to these crimes. That's what I've been saying. People are going to be shocked when some of this shit goes down, because they keep thinking, oh, it's way out there. It's those elite people. It's those celebrities. We don't know about them. They're just bad. They're devil worshippers, And it's like, you guys are about to find out. You have people sitting at your Thanksgiving table who had no moral compass when it came to what they would do to get ahead or to protect themselves. Which, this was a thing I had just seen too. I told you I'm going to be all over the place. Is this guy, he's some sort of to me, there's like different kind of groups. Because like spirituality has gone off the rails. And it kind of bugs me is how many people just rush in and they have been awake, 6 months, and suddenly they're leading the pack. And it's like, my God, mine started in 2015. And my healing had to start in 2009 when I got the brain injury. That's when everything started changing in my life. And so I had to go through so much just in between to 2015. But when it was like one thing after another kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me into the point where I had to heal. It was like when my, that last husband, that was like my Jenga block that pulled it all down for me, luckily. Fuck, but I would have just kept going and going, just bashing my head against the wall. It's like, it's horrible. It's horrible when you look back and you think, God, no wonder I was frustrated all the time. So anyways, once I had gotten to that and my world collapsed and I went into my dark night, that was, and I had already been doing so much healing, but it was a different kind of healing. I'm telling you, it's like so multi-level what you go through when you begin to awaken and claim yourself. And so there's so many things. This is what I'm saying. Like every little fucking thing, it's like they're open up a whole world to me. It's like, okay, well, I could talk all about that. There's just so many things. It's like, I'm telling you, there's so much stuff going on in there. It's like, it kind of is draining. I'm kind of feeling really super drained on the inside of me. And I don't know how to explain it. And even today when I was in there, I was doing my eyebrows, and I started going, it looks like there's a bulge here. It looks like it's bulging. And so I was like, I wonder if that is where your third eye is. And I can kind of feel like a little heat right there. And then so I covered it up and shut my eyes, and I could see still. Like, so it's just something. It's something, I don't know how to explain some of this stuff because it's so new to me. But to me, I just say it's something about pulling free from the 3D, and it just starts doing it by itself, like your body, your spirit, like it just starts going in another direction. I don't know how else to explain, but so in 2015, when I had to go through my dark night, and then and that is when it led to me to all that spiritual stuff. Like I had already knew about reincarnation. Like I was already reading about that when I was 20. So I was already, 20, 30 years into that whole thing. It was already, a part of my thing. Like and once you open your mind to that, see, then every single article, every single movie, every single thing about reincarnation, a show, a channel, or all those different people, I was always open to. So I was always listening to all of those different people. And so, I was like being in touch with the other side the whole time. And so the reason I'm saying that is because you have these people who are awakening. So I already had a strong spiritual connection. I already knew about reincarnation, like all that stuff way before my awakening. And then I had to like lose everything to push me in that direction. And I still kept trying to hold on to what was there. Get married again and rely on him. And, and he was the monster under the bed for me. He was like, definitely telling me you need to move. You need to do something different. And I fought it and fought it and fought it. I was fighting my internal battle, to try and stay because I felt desperate. Like I didn't know what it was going to happen to me. I didn't know what I was going to do. My lawyer's trying to put me in a nursing home. Like everybody was all on board with me just to go live in a fucking nursing home and, oh, poor mom or something. Nobody believed in me. Nobody believed, like, I don't know how to explain it. And so like I'm saying, you always have to believe in yourself. And so then I went through the dark night, and I wanted to get I was already doing the tarot. I had done a tarot class years and years before that. Like all of this stuff was already open to me. Like it wasn't like new to me. Like there's people who it's so new to them, but they're out there teaching about it. And that is where it's like, what? Even once I had gone through so much of my awakening, I'd already gone, and that's when I started learning about the yoga. Well, the chakra stuff I only learned about a few years ago. But when I went to that chakra class that shaman lady was doing. But, a lot of that kind of stuff was newer to me. Like, I don't know about crystals and all of that stuff. And so, I don't know all of the stuff. The thing, too, I want to say about, like, these witches and stuff like that. You know how I was talking about how things go full circle? I think some of them, too, are the people who actually burned the witches because they're too stereotyped. Because I believe anybody, because everything is imprinted in you. You don't go live a life and then forget. You just don't remember right here, but it's imprinted into you. And you can pull that information forward. And, that is, it's techniques. It's like developing self. That's what we're moving into. And so the the people who are out there being all this stuff about, doing spell work and all of that stuff, which some understand that language was developed so that we're constantly creating our own spells, because actually it has about to do with energy. And see, the thing is, to me, is that so many of these people are trying to manipulate energy instead of just direct it. Like, but you have to direct it with movement. You don't just demand it. You don't pull in all that free energy. All you energy out there who are listening, I pull you in with the north, the south, the east, the west, and all this stuff. You pull all this energy in, and then you direct it to make things happen the way you want. Then you're manipulating energy. You're not supposed to do that. And I think that people who actually lived lives of those kinds, and then they understand that at their core, like they have already suffered the punishment for that. And so it seems like to me that some of these girls who think they're witches, is kind of like they're the ones who burn the witches, and then they come in, and then because it's like they would have learned some of this stuff. So, and they all think like, well, I'm witches. Why? Probably you are the ones burning it, because you got to think, the souls play all different sides. But you are here to learn that. So they're here to learn that right now about, manipulating energy and stuff. So that's what I would say. But the person, okay, see, I'm having this merge because it was another thing that came in. Hold on. So the person, the spiritual. Okay, so the spiritual. Oh yeah. Okay, so the ones that are out there, out there trying to lead the way. So I already had this strong background. That is what one of the things that really drew me into wanting to do this, is because the stuff I would hear people talking about, it was like they're saying stuff, but they don't even know about it. They're just saying stuff. That bothered me all the way back, because it was in 2019. No, it was 2017. Yeah, 2017 was big to me. I'm trying to think if that was before I was triggered, because the triggering thing is a big thing in my awakening. That was a whole thing that is like kind of taken over. It was like the path I was on or something. But so then I was already setting up a room downstairs and trying to do videos. And I would sit like way over there. I was trying to set up this background and all this stuff. And I would get so nervous, and then I would it was so awkward and uncomfortable. And so then I remember I asked my granddaughter if she would do editing for me. And then I think everything, blew up with that house, because we were only there for 6 months before the guys sold it out from under us. I mean, in that 6 months, we had to be out. So we only had a couple of months there. It was like a summer. And so we were there for a short time. So all of that was happening in that time. And then when I had to move, then I didn't know for sure where I was going to go. And I still, my credit sucked. I had, and I had dogs. I was like, I am not going to go rent an apartment with my dogs and stuff. Like, I've got to get a place. And I just kept directing that energy towards there. And I was trying to get my daughter to co-sign on a loan with me, but her dad was very anti that. And so I just kept being he even started trying to get involved in, trying to set out, well, if you do this, if you do that, and all this stuff. So, and it was all just control. It was nothing. And so I know that me getting this place by myself, was, I didn't think she'd be able to do it. I know a lot of people thought that. But so I was at my daughter's in her basement for 6 months, and then got this place, got it all online, and then came over here, moved over here, and was here for 1 year, and then it was lockdown. And in that 1 year, I wasn't focused on doing this kind of stuff. I wasn't thinking about it. I was more focused on spending time with my daughter that I had moved over here, the one who was stopped speaking to me when 2020 started. And so I had wanted to come over and spend time with her because she was had so much resentment towards me of how I handled things when she was a teenager. But I was handling things based on my own trauma. And when my parents started passing me back and forth, it wasn't good for me. And I didn't want her to do that. And she was like, a lot of kids use divorce as like, well, I'm not going to be in trouble over here. I'm just going to dad's. I don't have to listen to you. I'm just going to go to dad's. So, and he wouldn't back me up. So, and she kept running away from home every time she would go do stuff that was naughty. And I would tell her she was in trouble and she would be grounded and she would just leave. So I couldn't get him to help. So I was like, okay, you're going to have to stay over there then. And he became so, it was like his worst part of his alcoholism. And he was, really, really bad. And so she, resents me for it. But at the time, it seemed like it was the smartest thing. And she hated everybody I went out with. And she would get in fights with them. And that made me worried. It made me think people would tell me that I had out of control teenagers, so, and I was like, so insecure and so much like, I'm failing, I'm not doing good. I've got this teenager who's just out of control. And so anyways, and it was all of them. I had one that had, 2 kids who got pregnant in high school at this point, who was poor as hell. I had another one who was married to someone who was way older than her and had a baby. And then, so anyways, it was like, there was I wasn't feeling very good as a parent. I was feeling like, fuck. I just, mess everybody up. Like, you want to do so much different than that. So anyways, when I was over here, I just wanted to focus on trying to, really build our relationship up. And because, all the time when we would spend, she was the one who wanted, there's more stuff I got to tell about that. So, but I'm going to get back to the other thing. So anyways, in that time, it wasn't until 2020 when I started seeing all this stuff that was going on, that's when they were really, telling me that I needed to speak up. It was time for me to speak. And I was like, oh, what if I just write it? I even got that typewriter. If I just write a book, I'll just write it. And then, start trying. It's like, oh, writing this so fucking hard. It's like, it's just a lot, editing and scene and all sorts of stuff. And I know that these light bulbs are what's damaging my eyes more, I swear. And there's more talk about the light bulbs and stuff as Joe has made it a law now or whatever the fuck. But so it was in that time when they were telling me, so it was in 2020, somewhere in the middle where they started really pressing me. Like, I'd hear people talk and I'd be like, no, what? Like, oh, I gotta say something. Like, and then is when they started turning my light on. It was like they just won't let you alone. They'll sit there and tell you 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 until you get up and say what they say. And so that is what got me started. But like, I had a spiritual background. I was like, I've studied a lot of this stuff. I understand a lot of this stuff. And there's some things that are new to me, but a lot of this stuff I understand. And so then when I see these people who just woke up, they have no spiritual background, they know nothing about reincarnation, they spread fear. Some of this stuff, and then they call themselves spiritual. You got these people out there calling themselves witches that are, manipulating energy. It's like, this is so wacky. Like, this is like ego on steroids. Like, it is, and I'm not saying like, I'm superior to anybody, but it's like I just find it so strange how people just go out and just sit there and talk about stuff. And how fast. You got people who wake up and then the next fucking month they're a goddamn life coach. Like, you got life coach, awakening coach, like all these people who are going to walk you through it. They're going to tell you what to do or something. Yeah, I think that that's not the way to go. Pay somebody to do something like that. I say you find your own path. You just go out and listen to different people. Go out and gather information for yourself. Your internal will direct you and stuff. It will bring you information. It's like the algorithm is like more works for you if you start to recognize. Like, I tell the algorithm, like I'll tell it, like on music or something, I'll tell it like, and I have that energy out there. It's like, okay, you know how I'm feeling, bring me something. But the thing that gets me is when they are telling people that they have to go through the computer to do that. And then the computer will tell you how you feel. No, I'm not going to have the computer tell me how I feel. Even if it put on a song and I was like, sometimes I'll be like, no, I don't know, and switch it up. But, like I said, they bring me the movies they want me to see. They bring me the shows. They bring me stuff that they're telling me. And then all of a sudden this movie will pop up and I'll be like, what? I've never even heard of this movie. And it's sitting there saying stuff that they're showing me. And then they'll have me see that. And then I'll open up more. So that's what I'm saying is when and to me, I think it is just that people just don't recognize it's communication. That they think they just don't understand what life is and what it's all about and stuff like that. I just saw this girl and she was explaining, I've seen this a lot of times, hold on, this 666, where people think it's like, oh, that's Satan and all that stuff. And the 666 is actually like 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 carbons or something. It's like what we're made up of like as carbon based or something. The 666 is what we are. And which another thing too is, how people are always, go in and they're getting pictures of people like, oh, they're doing this, and that means they're devil worshippers and stuff in movies or in pictures and stuff like that. And there's symbols and stuff like that. Whatever they're doing. And I mean, you could do peace sign and mean, something different. So it's what you are putting out there. But so man, let me think what I was saying. Oh yeah, so the Tesla was talking about the 369, and the 369 is the expansion of consciousness or something. So I can't explain other people's stuff good. So you can go out and you can, learn about it through somebody who understands it and teaches it and stuff like that. I can just say that it is interesting. Oh yeah, this thing though, I got finished with that because this is something with like that like these are something with vibration and stuff. So these things are all these things are there's all these different things that have to do with vibration, and it has more to do than what people think. So I can't explain it all, but you can go and look up. I would say it's something probably with yoga and energy and chi and stuff. You'd find more of that kind of thing. But that was something that I had said just started happening naturally, where they would start like having me do like these stretches, and then I said like I was doing all these weird things with my fingers and stuff, and I had no idea, but I was just like, do your thing, girl. And I think that is a part of it too, is as consciousness in this restructuring, can you manage the avatar, or do you need it to still be on the tracks, kind of, So it's kind of like this stepping up And like, I don't know, there's something about shoes and wheels and about traveling and about us moving ourselves and about us being able to consciously take control of the avatar. And I just know it all has something to do with all that. Like, I don't understand it all, but the 369 has something to do with that same thing with the it seems like the terrestrial, the celestial, and the not extraterrestrial, terren. See, this is stuff that you have to look up about. There's just, when you start having that kind of things that get you out of like this Jesus up in the sky and God's gonna throw lightning at you if you don't do what he says and all that kind of stuff. It gets you to understand. And this whole thing, where so many people are scared of Satan and Satan's trying to get you. And one thing too is I keep noticing is all these people, scripture says this, scripture says that. It's like, what if it wasn't in scripture? What if it was just in you? What if you it had to come from you, not from this book? Does that make sense? Like, people got to start thinking about some of this stuff, not just scripture says. It should be coming from inside of you, not just, oh, the book says this, so this is what this, and this is, that is something that it's like you can't get religious people to understand. It's like you got to go through you, not through the book. And yesterday, even when I talked to my mom about something, she had said something I said, and she said something about Jesus or whatever. I don't even remember. I'm not going to go into some long conversation with her because she is positive Jesus is coming and the Bible is 100% accurate. And the people who believe in the Bible understand things that the people who don't believe in the Bible don't understand. It's like the whole thing. And so, as all those people are going to find out, that religion was a lie and it was all to manipulate you, and that they have the people worshiping their idols that they worship, and they're so manipulative. And so many of those people, I think, are going to feel so ashamed of themselves. I just keep trying to remind my mom just to go through what's in your heart. As long as you have God in your heart. And that's what it was. I said, as long as you have God in your heart. And that is, it was like, well, of course he is. I read the Bible, but it is like, if God's in your heart, he's going to be telling you, he's not going to punish you and shit. He's not going to me, he's not going to be sitting there saying, just sit back and wait for me to come and I'll fix all this. Because I have people say that shit to me all the time. Jesus is coming, don't worry. Everything's going to be fixed soon. Jesus is about to come. It's like, I don't believe that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Just like these people who want to jump a timeline and skip a whole part of their life. That doesn't make any sense to me. To me, I've always had this more awareness of life and being inside of something and the possibilities and the adventure. Like, I've always wanted to just be living my life and being adventurous and having fun and stuff. And so that, and that's not, people don't value so many things that life is all about. They are, but that is the shuffling, the reprocessing, the reprioritizing of what is important and what's not important. And, there's such a huge thing about learning that you're eternal. It's not, some guy up in the sky who's judging you, deciding. Oh, but there was something too. Okay, so there was this, so I guess there is something with the Hopi prophecy is saying June or July 2024. Like, there's a whole bunch of talk right now about that. I've seen other psychics, people saying, okay, June 2024 or July 2024, that's when the solar event's going to happen. That's when everything is going to shift. And so I think that what is kind of going to be going down. So, because you have like the movement towards freedom cities and stuff. And, but you have a lot of people who are super biased and super scared. And, I mean, a lot of people, it was just a big mess. Fuck. So the so we have the banks crashing, and we have all these different countries. Like, there's more and more now that have signed on with the BRICS. So everybody is abandoning and everybody's going on the gold standard. It's like these last couple countries: Australia, England, Canada, and America, because it is all part of the show. And it's they have to expose these really criminal people who were all connected, running things from behind the scenes. And what's connecting them is all of these selling of kids. Like, that is the big thing that is just going to keep coming out and coming out, is that what they were doing. And so there's so much talk now with that little 8-year-old girl and 67. That just makes me so fucking sick. I cannot even fucking believe people see a little girl and that's what. God, people are sick, man. Oh, god damn. Those, like, that's the kind of energy we're getting rid of. That's the energy that's leaving this place. And so those people are showing themselves who they are. And so with that energy is not an energy that can continue on this place. It is just, it won't be possible. And so anyways, we're going to keep having these things that are going to keep collapsing and keep being exposed. And it's going to keep waking people up and keep waking people up. And we're about to go into really brutal time. So where people are going to lose their minds. And so it probably will have to do with the money collapse. And they're probably kind of waiting to do ours, because it's going to be like, it's going to be very big and dramatic. Oh yeah, I got to say this too, is I had seen this yesterday and I thought this is super interesting. And that is where you got to look at all this stuff on the other side. So this guy, he's always talking about the money and the quantum system and all that stuff. And he said that he's got friends in the military and they're telling him that they are going in and blowing up all of these food plant places, that they're doing it. It's the white hats that are blowing them up. And he said the reason that they're blowing them up is because of they've filled all these things with genetic interference and poison and stuff. And that is why it is they're blowing it up. Like, nope, nope, nope. So that where people are freaking out, like, oh, they're just going to destroy all the food plants. No, they're trying to use the food plants to give us more poison, so the other people are coming in and destroying it. But there's going to be so many changes. Like, there's going to be changes. Like, people are even realizing they don't need as much food as what they had thought, that was all programming. And so there's going to be so many things that are going to be changing. And there's nothing to panic about the food. And it's not like we're going to starve. I mean, even if we go through, a week of like what's going to happen. So when the money goes down, I mean, you won't be able to buy things. You won't be able to go, there's like the stores won't be able to take there's no way to buy anything. And so, right now they're trying to switch it over. So even in New York, they've already started an ATM machine that you go up and you put cash in and it gives you a card back. Or if you try and get cash out, it just gives you a little card that you use, like another little debit card. It's like a prepaid card. So that's what they're going to try and do. But it won't, I mean, that's not the system we're going into. We're going into the quantum one. We're not going into this social credit system. Like, how much did you have for dinner? These people. So, and what people will accept. It's like, man. Like, so anyways, the money thing. So when it crashes, and like all these people who don't know how to cook for themselves and depend on DoorDash, there's not going to be restaurants. There's not going to be anybody to feed these people. And they don't know how to feed themselves. And then you have all these people, like, entire cities that are going out, going crazy and looting. And who knows? Like, it is so intense that who knows if it's like something they're putting in the water or something they're coming and spraying on these people at night to make them lose their fucking minds. Like, I would not put anything past them. And I think they will 100% do that. Like, there's been people they've been caught going down streets, spraying stuff. So, yeah, it would not surprise me at all if they're going through the streets of, like, go through Philly or whatever, spray stuff just so people just go crazy, spray out some hundred drugs. I mean, this whole big drama about the Taliban or whoever the fuck now in Sudan or something has got this whole lab situation that's got all these deadly diseases. And for one thing, if we've all had these, why would we worry about measles and smallpox? Didn't we all have these? Aren't we safe? So, and some of this stuff like cholera, isn't that like if you are taking care of yourself, you're not going to get something like that? Like some of that stuff, the reason they got it was because that they were dirty and they, didn't wash their hands. They would eat and go out and deliver a cow, come in and just eat, like it wasn't like people didn't realize about germs until, I don't know, supposedly just like 100 years ago or something. So I don't know, stuff that I learned in nursing school, but fuck, all that shit's so built on lies. So who the fuck knows? But let me think where it was. It's like, I feel like I'm all over the place. Okay, so the food things. There was another thing. Okay, the money thing. So when the money thing collapses in the government, so the government is in the process of all collapsing too, because of all of the things that keep being shown and proven and all of that. Like, it's just going to keep going. Like now there's no stopping it. Like, it's just going to pick up the pace. And so there's no hiding or whatever. It's going to be nonstop. People are going to just be having to hear things. And so there's not going to be getting away from it anymore like there was. There was another thing too. Oh yeah, because he said about the sky spraying, where people keep being so outraged, like they're fucking doing these whole Tic Tacs and stuff like that. And I don't know about this, but he said that is the white hat people who are doing all of that they're saying because there was so many toxic chemicals up there that they're spraying something to try and diffuse the poisoning. So I don't know. I know that there was a lot of poisoning around, so I have no idea. It's hard to know, because then it's like, well, then are they really turning up their frequency, or is all this stuff all really just ascension symptoms from the planet shifts and the atmosphere and stuff? So, I don't know. But it is, these systems collapsing is going to push people, especially dependent people, into a state of chaos and fear and panic. And so they're all going to go out and, going to be violent towards each other. So that is going to be a lot of, it's already going on so much. Like, it is so dangerous. Like, I can't believe just the nonsense, crime and violence that just keeps going on. But, that's people who are out of control, don't know what to do and stuff. And so, we got that. It was part of the thing we got to go through. And so, and there's going to be a ton of death through all this. And but it gives me more hope too, that gives us like a year of before this West Coast changes. I mean, I think there's going to be some changes. But one of the things is, so I think it was in the Philippines yesterday or the day before, there was there's a bunch of earthquakes. So when they happen over there, like I said, then they reverberate somehow under the ground. It reverberates and hits over on the other part. And it's all these plates and stuff underneath that how they're shifting and aligning. That is a part of what the whole planet is doing, is shifting. And so it's like she's trying to get more comfortable, like me. Like, how do I get comfortable? I gotta shift around. So she's doing that too. And but the reverberation comes and hits over here. And they were even under a tsunami warning after that one over there. And there's a bunch of storms coming to hit the West Coast again this week. So this week again is going to be another week of, could be a big earthquake again because of the ones going on over there, and knowing that this is already past due and all of the instability that we have over here. So there's still over, that time period. Even if the big shift happens in June, like I said, I think they're going to be spending time evacuating. I think there's going to be some big earthquakes and stuff like that will happen. They'll be devastating and get people scared, and people will want to move and keep leaving there. And then plus you got the whole government there just pushing people out, like with their ridiculous laws and all their bullshit that they keep doing. But it's got to be to pushing people out of California, because California is not going to be there anymore, and a lot of places aren't going to be there. So it's kind of like the universe is pushing from the inside to get people to be like, man, it sucks, but people are so like California dreaming, and the ocean, and it's like a whole lifestyle. But they gotta realize, like, well, it's just gonna shift. That's all gonna be gone. So you got to go back to look at the map and see where the ocean line's gonna be, and move around there. And it may take a couple of years, but otherwise you're at risk for your house being underwater. So I think that there's going to still, over this time, if the big thing happens next year, like the big cataclysm, that then there will be a lot of people in safer places, and that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to lead up to that. So there's still going to be tons of people dying, tons of things happening, and shifting and violence, and so it's going to be really hectic over like the next year or something. I think that it's going to be so much devastation and so much horrible stuff that it's just going to exhaust people, and they're going to just reach a point of exhaustion of just like, what am I supposed to do? And that is that come to Jesus moment. It'll probably happen for all different people at all different times, but then I think they're going to get a lot of people in safer places. And when the cataclysm happens, I feel like that there is going to be more preparation. Like right now, all of the fear and the scrambling and stuff is like, knowing that something is coming. And if you're listening to yourself and knowing that you need to prepare for something. But, just like I said, all the way back when I was triggered 11, 17, then I thought, oh, well, they're telling me because this is about to happen. And I was going to Spain and Portugal, and thought, oh, so I'm going to meet them this summer on this trip. And that's why they're telling me. But no, sometimes they tell you stuff way ahead. And so, this whole thing where people think, oh, it's about to happen, it can be like, it's about to happen next year. And so you have this whole time to be getting ready. And so to me, what was it? There's a cool thing that is going to be happening, I think, at that time, that is going to be happening in San Antonio. What did he call it? It's like he's trying to put together this whole festival. It has something to do with ley lines and where the Hopi Indian thing. It's like a whole thing. And I can't think of what he called it. It was a catchy little phrase, something about San Antonio, not stepping up in I can't think of it. But he's going to have music and art and all sorts of stuff is what he's trying to put together. And I would totally want to go to that. That would be really fun. But to me, like right now, so when the collapse starts happening with the money, see, my plan is to get out of here. And when there is no no way to pay for gas and stuff. Like, I don't know how long that is going to go on. I think it's going to be quick. And I don't know if it's going to be quick that things are going to just, like, it's going to be fast. Like, the quantum system's already in place, but there's just so many people who just don't understand things. So I don't know how it's all going to go down. Like, everything keeps going so slow so people can process and wrap their heads around things, because I guess apparently that's supposed to create less chaos. And so, I don't know, but to me, it's kind of like I'm waiting for the universe to show me. Like, I've been putting it out there and putting it out there, and so now I'm waiting for the universe to show me of which way I'm going. But so to me, I feel like something is going to be happening. Like, there's going to be some big shifts. Like, I know I'm not going to be, I just know I'm not going to be sitting here another year. There's no fucking way. If I have to go out and goddamn go live in my car on a beach or something, me and Stella will just go fucking be nomads. I don't give a shit. And and now my kids are all like, well, what if you lose your house and stuff? It's like, then that's what's supposed to happen. I can't sit here and just be all living in fear. I'm not going to stop living my life to pay bills that a judge has already said we don't even have to pay. Like, I'm not going to sit there and pay my house. And they're sitting there calling me, and I'm not even going to answer right now because I'm not going to give them the fucking time of day. But they start trying to, foreclose or something. Like, how are you even going to get in the courts when the courts have already said you can't have the houses? And they've tried to do so many illegal things in the courts. But I'm not going to do that fight. I would rather go out and live my life and have some adventure than to sit here and fight over this house that they could take down in one storm, So to me, it's whatever's going to be is going to be. It's not, I can't sit here and stress about it and, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure and pay my house and just sit here and do nothing. And no, if there's some money, I'm going to go out and live my fucking life. And I'm not going to sit here and just give it all to them and wait for them to say I can live my life. No, I'm going to fucking live my life. And if they're going to take my fucking house, they're going to take my fucking house. And, if I'm going to live in my car, I'm going to live in my car. I'm not going to live in fear. Like, everybody is just so trapped in living in fear. It's like, I know things are going to be so much better. This is just a bridge to get to where we're going. We're not going to be trapped on the bridge forever. We just got to get across the bridge. And, I'm not going, I know, I don't need to carry more things across, because I know on the other side, everything is waiting for me. So I don't need to be like, well, I got to have my car, I got to have my house, I got to have this, I got to have that. I'm not going to, it's just a change in attitude and perspective. And it's just so weird when you have conversations with these people who just see things so, so differently. And I try and get them to see through my eyes, but they can't. You can't get people to see what they can't see. No matter how many things I send to them over and over and over about the collapse with the money thing, about what's going on. It's like it doesn't sink in. So some people are going to have to experience it. Or you can't go to the store. It's going to be, there's no going to a store. There's no going to these things because there is no dollar. They're, even with their Fed now financial system and stuff, when the dollar collapses, it's our whole government financial. They don't have anything. And so, and they were bankrupted. So it's kind of goes together with exposing them. And so it's kind of like exposing them, the dollar's collapsing, then it's going to shift over and we're going to go into this quantum, freedom, cities and stuff like that. But I still don't know about all this stuff coming on there. But then we'll start, there's still going to be chaos, there's still going to be violence, there's still going to be biased people. I'm not going to any freedom center, any Trumpsters, I'm not being around those Trumpsters and all this kind of shit. Like, they just, they just want to stay divided. Just whatever they can find, like, to divide on. It's like, it's so ridiculous. But, and I try and get people to understand, like, you've got to see, there's two sides. There's two sides to the coin. There's the 15-minute city or the freedom city. Everything that is about freedom is where we're headed. And so everything that is talked about in freedom, being free, being sovereign, being independent, everything about that if that's what you want, that's what you look at. You look towards that. Everything that is freedom, freedom, freedom. The other side, the science, the technology, the fear, climate change, we got to get small, let's all huddle, let's go. They want all these people to go, how many ever, 5.1 million people, let's all fit them in 13 miles and we'll go up, they're bullshit, whatever. And then, they would all jam pack us in a sardine can, and then they'll go live out in the rest of the open space and live free, while we all fucking sit in there fighting to fucking get some fresh air. Or I guess they'll pump some air in that's probably full of some kind of lithium or some bullshit to, we got to keep them docile. What are we going to do? So, but those people are all, the people who are into that, they're all about the drugs and the science, and they don't need very much space. They just need space to put their laptop, maybe an iPad. They don't need a lot of space. So, the people who are all about that, and they think, well, they're going to have free food too. Well, you're going to be eating bugs. The other one, you may have to grow your food, but you get to decide what you're eating. This other one, they'll decide for you. And when you've had a few too many bugs and you finished off grandpa last week, well, you're eating a little too much. Now it's time to cut back, and they're going to be, they're already doing it in China. Like anything you do, they just take money out of your account automatically as a punishment. Like they're our fucking parents. And then people are just dependent on them. Like, okay, I'll do what you say. So so that is, that's what they want us to be, is like that. And there will be people who will be like, yeah, 15-minute cities. I care about the country. I care about the climate. I'm not going to go live with Trumpsters. And so I guess this is all going to be going on kind of quick. People are going to be having to make decisions and when they're shooting from the hip, all their pain and trauma, and they haven't moved up the chakra system, they're not firing from their heart and their mind, and they're down there in the pain and suffering. They're not making good decisions for themselves. I talked about this girl quite a while back, and she was one with the eye things, and I was going in a holistic, natural direction, and she was going towards medical doctors save me. And, I've done that, been there, done that. No, fuck that bullshit. And so she is doing that, and she do videos of frustrating and crying and stuff like that. And now she is starting on, she just did a video. I hadn't seen one of hers in a long time. And she's going on Ozempic or something like that. And so I think it is some new weight loss thing. No telling what the fuck it does to you. And the movie stars are using it. Of course they are. Kim's been using it. I think she lost 15 pounds in a week or some kind of nonsense. And I think they just switch out the clone. Get out the skinny one now. We're going to change things up. We're going to, we need people to buy some new clothes. So get out the skinny one. Let's sell that one now. And then plus the new drug. And so she's like, it's so hard to get. And I know everybody wants it. And so I'm going to, document my journey on it. And she's going through all of her diagnoses, all of her reasons why and stuff like that. And it's like, people got to see. Like, you get those, I got a diagnosis. Look. Oh, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I can take this, I can take this. Like, people love it. Like, they love it. It's like, they've got you trapped in that. Like, you don't need diagnoses, and you don't need pills and stuff. Like, even with the attention deficit, luckily there's people, scientists and stuff, coming out and saying, like, this attention deficit is bullshit. It's just a difference in different people, is what, yeah, it's just a difference in how other different people work. It's the mechanics of different people, and they want to control it. And I think because attention deficit is the same kind of like with schizophrenia or something, like there's some ability, like I said, like when I was a kid, I was able to leave the classroom. I just sit there and my body would just sit there, but I was never in there. I was always, that's why it's like being in two places at once. My body's sitting there, but I was somewhere else. And then when the bell would ring and I would come back into my body, I would be so confused. I didn't know how much time had passed. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what they'd talked about. I was just lost. And so, I kept thinking something was wrong with me, and people kept telling me something was wrong with me. I'd get called, "Oh, you're such a daydreamer. You're just out there in space, aren't you? You're a space cadet." That's the kind of stuff you'll get called all the time. And so, anyways, I think it is an ability that they wanted to control, because they want control. They don't want us to have open minds and open borders. They want everything controlled and contained. And there's so much more of that coming out too. What was it? There's so many more people who are realizing how controlled traffic is and all of the different things, it's all about controlling and containing. So, and keeping hopeless and helpless. That's their motto. Control, contain, hopeless, and helpless is the only way to go. Like keep them docile, drug them. And so, man, there's so many more things I could talk about. Like some of that, like there's so many beings around. Like oh my God, it's like fucking it's scaring me. I just pretend not pretend like I don't see them. I mean, they can know, but it is. I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to focus and, get creeped out and stuff, even though it can be really creepy to have things just walking around your house and knocking things and watching you and stuff. So, but there was a couple more things I really wanted to, there's just so much, there's so freaking much. But so to me, anyways, it's important to be prepared for anything. It's going to be dangerous to be just going out all the time. It's going to become more and more dangerous. There's going to be more and more incidences and more horrible things are going to happen as people continue to try and live in the way life used to be, because it's over. And the universe is like, it's over. It's time to go. The lights are coming on. Time to go home, go home, go home. It's done. But there's all these people who think like that's living, that's lifestyle. I saw videos again the other day or Saturday night of people out in the club just with their phones on live. It's just there's so many people just still out at the clubs and just out, drinking and having mindless sex. It's just, caught up in their impulses and on a journey to not selflessness, the journey to it's like a journey to the bottom of the well. It's like they're just going down. But I can't say that their soul's not here just to enjoy this last bit of experience, and they're going to be gone in one of these mass incidents. So you can't go in and tell somebody you don't live that way, because what if that's their last time to be doing it? So, everybody's got to be doing their own thing, not just doing something because you think it's right or wrong. You got to be living from your heart. Where's your heart telling you to go? What's your heart telling you? This heart, this heart's telling you to go. Just stay safe and work on yourself, and that we will get through the traumatic things, no matter how they drag out and stuff, that we'll get through them and it will be better. So no matter how, when stuff starts going down, just keep remembering, okay, this is temporary, this is temporary, this is temporary. It's not forever. This is, but I think once the cataclysm thing comes, So I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be moved into safer places, and the cataclysm won't be as devastating if we're in safer places, and if you've been working on yourself and raising your vibration. But it's going to be, I don't know, there's supposed to be people who go off in ships and stuff, so I don't know. Well, this is all stuff for us to just see. Like, not everything are we going to know every moment by moment as stuff plays out. A lot of the stuff, they show you your own stuff, your own life and stuff. Like, I'm trying to just pay attention to what all the different people say too. Because, it's like, you don't know minute by minute what's going to happen. You just know something big is going down, and that we're shifting and we're going into this other, age where it's going to be really technologically sophisticated, and people are going to be spiritually connected. So it's a big jump, and a lot has to happen, from the time you jump and to the time you land. So it's got a lot that has to occur. So that is the time we're in. It's very active. It's like we're in the magma or whatever of the volcano before it erupts. So all the churning and all of that. So we're in all of this churning and chaos and anger, and then it's going to erupt. And then after it erupts, then it's going to start being where things are going to really start changing and start shifting. So I don't know about the 10 days of darkness. I don't know if that's going to go down as the internet shifts. I don't know if that's going to go down after the sun is going to. But, when we go to the free energy, it's not going to be affected. It is a natural. It's not this harnessed control like what they do about, contain and control. And so it isn't going to be like if we get switched over to the Tesla thing over the next 6 months, that when the shift occurs, that shouldn't affect the power and stuff. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would think it would be, like a lightning strike, like there would be some kind of an effect, but it wouldn't knock out the power where we won't have power ever again, because it is natural. And I don't know if we're going to be on this, Edison stuff until we get our, was that Edison, or is that the light bulb? Well, you know what I'm talking about. Or if we're going to be on this other electricity up until that time, and then it's going to, because to me, it is going to be, the freedom cities will start having the Tesla energy. So they'll start being free energy out there. So I don't know if it will be like slowly people going and moving and, readjusting. And then the cataclysm, the event happens, and then the power goes out, and then it comes back on with the other one. Like, I don't know if we're going to be on this up until that point, or if that is going to be a part of the shift with the financial collapse and the collapse of all of their infrastructure. Like, it's those kinds of things. Like, we know these things are going to happen. We just don't know how, when, or any of that stuff. So it's kind of like, just keep in mind of what you know is going to happen, and just kind of release all of the details of how and when and all of that stuff, because that really leads to a lot of where people just get frustrated and mad, and nothing's happening and stuff like that. Well, everything is happening. Everything is shifting. Don't think for a second nothing's happening. And so there, and I heard that when this big shift happens, that so you have, like, the people are going to be making their choices, which direction they're going to go. You're going to go towards freedom, or you're going to go towards control. And so I think that's going to kind of be happening here over the next few months. And probably there's going to be some devastating more storms and stuff like that, that more homeless people, more people that are trying to be helped or whatever. And so then once I totally forgot what I was going to say. Because once the storm, okay, so the storm, man, I feel like it's just blank. So the storm, so the people come in, I cannot get past this storm thing. So whatever, I just don't know how all of the different things are linked together. I just know that all these things are going to happen. And so however they happen, and it can happen in all different places in all different ways. So however it happens, it's going to happen. And so being prepared for all of these different things to happen is important. So no matter how long it takes to all go down, it's going to make you steps ahead. And so when the people who are not being steps ahead, they're just, each devastating thing, Freedom City, they're going to have to put work into it. The other one, they're just being built, and you just go and, you're just trapped in your own little neighborhood. And so there'll be people who will go to that, I would assume, I guess. I mean, they're being built, and people get to make their choices. And a lot of people are anti-Trump, and they're not going to go towards that. And so, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to go out and just try and make it on their own too, which is fine. Because it is about independence and stuff, and as things shift. But all I know is that to try and make sure that you are paying attention to that doomsday map. Oh yeah, my mom also told me yesterday that, so we have attachments to Denmark. My grandma's from Denmark, so that we'd be able to go there too as a citizen or whatever. Like, it's just, they're gonna, all of that stuff is just gonna be ridiculous anyways. They're gonna stop all of that stuff. This controlling our movement, where we can go, and if we're allowed to be there, and visas and titles and license, all their bullshit. Like, that's all gonna go away. But I was really excited though, because then I was like, oh, my mom will be able to go there. She's wanted to go there for so long. But, she can ride this out and get all. She told me yesterday she has her proposal ready. Because I told her, put your proposal together. Everything you need because she does that animal rescue. Everything you need to get your place set. All that money is going to be available for anything you're doing to help humanity. If it's helping animals, helping nature, helping people with food, helping people with educate, all of those things, there's going to be tons of money to go into it. So like if you want to start a school, you and your friends, you have an idea for this or that, you put out your proposal. And it's not going to be like your proposal has to go up before a judge and jury. It's just, you put it out there, it's not going to be like having to get a loan. There's just tons of money that needs to go into communities. And so I would say if you come in and you've got like a kind of a wonky proposal, that they probably have people who sit down, planners with you that help you kind of take out the rough edges, help you really come up with a good plan. So it's not like they're just going to be like, oh, you want to do this? Here, take $1 million. There's going to be, help to help you. It isn't going to be just frivolous, and it's going to be really, I think it's going to be super cool. Like I was thinking, just like in Spokane, there's this one area you can go drive through, and the whole thing is old Victorian vintage houses. And so I think when it starts being communities, it would be like that. Like you'd be able to go to a community and you drive through, and it's going to be like all these really cool houses and buildings, and everything kind of goes together, and it's very developed. I think it's going to be super cool. And super cool to go around and travel. Anybody who's gone and traveled much and goes to like a little western city or, like the little German town. You go to those places and it's cool. And so I think there's going to be tons of communities like that that are based on, wanting people to come to their community and buy their wares and enjoy their stuff. And, that's going to be a part of how they keep their communities going. And so I was like, man, that is going to be so cool, to go into a whole city that's all Victorian, like going back in time or something. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff. I'm really excited to see what people do. And I can't wait until people get excited about it and stop being so scared and argumentative and divisive. And, I think things are going to get so exciting. But yeah, I'm still, I'm waiting to see, because I know the universe is going to send me in a direction, and I just got to see where it is they're sending me. I'm totally open to what it is that is going to happen, and know that it is going to be for my best, because that's the timeline I'm on. But I have to trust. I can't go in and control it. I can't go in and try and make it go in one direction or the other, or push it how I want it to go. I just have to lay back and allow it to happen. And then, just I'm along for the ride and, making the best of the situation. But I am really excited, because I do think, there's going to be some really cool shifts. But I think that there is going to be people who are making certain choices for themselves are going to start looking like their lives are just shining, like things just get better and better. And other people who are making other decisions, it's going to get harder and harder. And they're going to be looking at those other people like, man, we could do that. We could change our lives. Why are we going through this? So it's going to be like helpful for that movement. Like yesterday, the neighbors are all gone all day during the week because they're all at school and work. And then the girls got home from school and were out there jumping on the trampoline. And then when the dad got home, he went out and started jumping on the trampoline with them. And it's just, the whole thing is when the parents start deciding like, I want to spend all day jumping on the trampoline with you. I don't want to go to work. What if we just lived in a different kind of situation? What if we just didn't go and buy new stuff all the time? What if we just started living more simply? What if I just did side jobs? That's where people got to see is the reprioritizing. It's choosing a lifestyle instead of going and dedicating your life to somebody else who will, throw you a bone or two so that you can go out shopping or go to a restaurant or whatever, to just start living, more in sync, with what comes to you is for you. And, being more in the flow of life. And so anyways, I feel like there's more stuff. I feel like I can't even cover all of the different things of the stuff, but I think, it's, I think I've been consistently saying, what's going to happen, and it's happening. And, if people go out and they choose to follow some of these people who, I just, I just see these people they're psychic and they say things that are just so obvious. It's like, seriously, that's not obvious to everybody? That's psychic? And so they have that. And then a lot of these people, they will suddenly have whole meltdowns and stuff because they haven't done their healing yet. They're out there and they're just confused. But it's just this, it's ego. I swear to God. And there's just so much of it. And there's so much of ego on steroids. It's going to be something when everybody starts realizing how much ego that they have and really have to start doing their ego work. And there is that one girl, man, she's out there just all the time, like almost to the point, like if you're sitting there saying, you've got 8 mental illnesses and you've got bipolar and stuff like that, and then you're out there kind of acting manic and being like, I'm an Anunnaki princess, and not, and kind of being rude to people or something. You're, I don't know. Everybody's putting out the energy that they need to put out for their own lessons. It just is sometimes I think that people are doing certain things and it's going to be a different outcome than the outcome I see coming. And, I don't know. I just see things going in different directions than what people think. But there's a reason, because the lessons are those lessons. That's what you need to learn, is what you're being shown, not what you're trying to control. So, anyways, and just be open to your lessons. Don't be hard on yourself. Just be like, yeah, you can only know what you can know. You're here to learn and experience. So don't be hard on yourself because you didn't know something. The whole thing is that once you start knowing and understanding, then you have reference. And once you have reference, then you need to maintain that and to, be mindful when you're considering something. You have more to look at and to understand. So then, you hopefully or typically won't go in and make the same mistake. Even if you go in and make a mistake, it normally is not the exact same one, but there's a lot to learn. So anyways, that's the thing. There's these things that keep like coming and popping in that, what was that one? Oh man, the transitioning stuff. Oh my gosh. There's like so much fighting in there. The people being attacked. Anybody who's in the community who speaks out against the narrative. Like, oh my gosh, they're so attacked. I feel bad for them. But, that makes them stronger to stand up for themselves, because that's what everything is all about. Oh, that's what that one was. Yeah, that guy who I had seen, and he was talking about, to be strong, to be a strong person, you need to be able to protect yourself. And, you can't be in fear, because then if you're in fear, look what they can do. Because then you will give up something. And so, they scare people, and then people give up their rights, their independence. And so you have to be willing to lose to, not be in fear. But when I was listening to this guy, because I was just thinking about this yesterday, it was somebody else's story I was hearing. It was one of those. It was one of those weird sex ones. These people, like, they're weird testimonials they do in these weird, awkward sex things, and they'll still do it with the person. It's like, what is going on with people? What? This one, the guy was this whole weird sex thing, and he still did it with the guy, and then he was I don't know, he was kind of disgusted by himself, but he thought the guy was so crazy, and he still did it with him. But what was it? I had just seen him saying, because he was saying something, and I wanted to, I don't know why people just keep going and having these weird, awkward sex things with strangers, but it's their lessons, like it's all their stuff that they have to learn. But there was something else that that guy said that I wanted to say. I just had to remember who he was. But what was it that he was saying? As he was talking about something. I don't know. It just popped in my head, and then as soon as I started trying to tell who he was, and I forgot again what it was that I wanted to say. It doesn't matter, I guess. Oh, the trans thing. Because he was a gay guy, and the trans thing, I keep seeing these people who are detransitioning, and trying to speak out as advocates for the kids. Don't be doing this to kids. And there's a lot of bad stuff happening for people in the transitioning stuff. Like a lot of those people have seen like this was not the way to go. And because it's a push by the science agenda to do it, and it's to take, contain and control. And but I still can't think of what it was that guy said that I wanted to say. There's so many videos against that one guy, and he just keeps on saying stuff. He just keeps fighting people. It's like, it's so strange. Like, I just saw this video, like all of these different, the woman of the year, the woman of the year in sports, the woman of the year in politics, the woman of the, all of the ones, the leaders in the women's move of women right now are all born with penises, all of them. So it's definitely a movement to shut down the feminine, because we're moving into that energy. And so that is just part of the darkness to try and control. And look at how they have so many women who are just losing their minds. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, the fight or flight. Okay, so the guy who had the weird sexual encounter, he said when things started going weird, he just froze. He just froze. He said he couldn't do anything. And to me, that is where I'm the opposite. I'm not a fight or flight. I'm fight. So where you have some people who freeze or that they take off running, I'm the opposite. I'll fight. And I'm not scared. And just something kicks in inside of me that is fight. And so when I was listening to that one spiritual guy saying that, it was like, yeah, you have to have that as somebody who can come in and get you. If you're just going to freeze or whatever, if you're not going to fight for your own life, no matter how it turns out, you have to have that drive to fight for your own life. And that is kind of what is kind of lacking, is this dependency. Like, I mean, that was a grown-ass man who went to go have this weird sexual encounter with this guy. And the guy starts having his fit, screaming and throwing things and all this weird fit over where the guy parked. And the guy just froze. And he said he outweighed the guy like by 80 pounds, and he just froze. I would have been like, okay, bye. Like, I bet I wouldn't even, at this point of who I am, wouldn't even go and do something like that. Like, no. One thing that I have learned through this spiritual awakening is all of that stuff that you think is giving you something is really taking from you. And you are the one who is giving you stuff. And, being alone and working on yourself and all of that stuff is beautiful. It isn't lonely. And especially, I think so many people like think, oh, I bet she's so lonely. She's always by herself. It's like, it may look like I'm by myself, but I'm fucking there's a party up in here. Like, I'm never alone. I'm surrounded, and they're always talking. So, yeah, you're never alone. And, but you get to be more in contact with the ones around you if you don't have all of the interference of everybody else around you stressing out on their lives. So, I don't know. Everything is about reprioritizing, looking at things differently, understanding things on another level. And that is what we're in the midst of happening, is a development. So anyways, but so many people think it's all different things, and so many people are panicking, and the medical thing, and run and grab this new medicine, and they're taking these ones away, they're shorting people on, like, all this stuff is just, it's mental. But each person in all of this chaos is all going through their own awakening, their own horrible experience to wake them up. And and some people, it's like one thing after another, till all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. And then to reach that point. So it's pretty intense. So anyways, just continue to work on you and just, just keep riding it out, riding out the storm, and it will pass and things will get better. And while you are riding it out, just no matter what country you're in, it's all going to be the same. All the countries, every human goes, it's the great equalizer. So everybody's going to get the things they want. So even if you're in a country that's far away and you think, well, that's what they're doing in America. No, they're doing it everywhere. America is kind of last. So other countries, and they're doing it in their own way. And I really like how Africa is speaking out now. And Africa is saying, you and Russia and America, get your fucking asses, leave us alone. We don't want anything to do with your bullshit. So leave us the fuck alone. Quit coming in here and interfering with us. And they even said, it's time for us to speak up and stand up for ourselves. That is what is happening. That is this beautiful thing that is happening, where, these powers have gone in and squashed people over and over, and, made countries where people were poor and devastated to keep them easier controlled, and, keep them always desiring for something outside. And so now it's going to go, and it's all shifting, it's all collapsing. So all people in all countries, it's all going to be equal. Everybody's going to have everything they need. Nobody is going to need to go anywhere or be anywhere or do anything different. They're going to have what they need, and they're going to get to make their choices for themselves. And so it is going to be, what you decide that you want for your life. Do you want to have a business and make that a part of what you do? Or do you want to be out and be free? Like for me, I don't want to have like a business. I want to, do my paintings, make some blankets, do stuff like that, and then just sell them. And so not like have a business, just have my stuff that I do and then just sell it. And so everybody, this is the time for you to figure out what you want to do and how you want to live. And I know I want to get a little farm like the one I went to when I went to California, and I stopped at my ex's at his sister's at that farm, and oh my God, just how much Stella loved it. And just being able to go out and walk around and the other animals. And so I know that is how I want to live, is just to have a place not in the middle of a town, just a little out, but my own little farm. And I don't need to go into town all the time and stuff. I like to do my own thing. Like I don't need other people's energy to fulfill me. Like it's just I don't know how to explain it, but I think that there's so much that you learn about yourself, being isolated and expanding of who you are, and getting in touch with you or yourself internally. So anyways, that's that. And we'll see, each week kind of goes by. I'm not going to get down, right away, as soon as a date passes, right away, they've got another date. Like, oh no, now it's May, this is the date. This is all going to happen and stuff. There's always these dates. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And how much of it is like, it just depresses you because, you think like, oh, it's going to for sure happen this way or that way. It's going to just keep happening. And it's going to be crazy. And I think there's going to be some very dramatic things that are going to be very eye-opening. And there's going to be a lot of devastation, a lot of anger, a lot of violence. So we're definitely in that part where things are going to just get worse for a while. So just stay safe. And, don't feel like you have to go out and participate in this world as it's collapsing and burning down. Like you don't have to. There's other things that you can find to do. And, it's just very dangerous out there. And just know that once the fires are put out and we start rebuilding, that's when things are going to get good. So even if you're in other countries, really focus. Like even if they're not telling you to write a proposal, and like they'll have different ways of distribution. And in not all cities, like America is going to be super devastated. There's some countries that are going to be just really devastated. as the shifts keep happening. But, there's going to be a lot of people who are displaced in America and have to move. So that's just going to be the way that they put things out in America. I just knew that that's how they were going to just redistribute, was making sure people had homes and shelters and everything that they needed. And it would be the people who have to figure out what you need. So no matter what country you're in, start visualizing what it is you need. How do you see your future? What is your best plan for your best future? Not through, the chaos and the surviving. That's by choice. You want to go out in the middle of a war and take your chances, then that's up to you. But, you can do the visualizing and focusing on what it is you want. And, as you visualize and stuff, things that you need to heal will start coming up. And so, you can visualize, oh, I really want that. And then something will come up. And don't feel like that's putting you off, like, oh, well, see, I can't have it because of this. No, it's bringing it up so you can heal that. So focus on that and heal that so you can move past that and keep working towards your dreams, working towards what it is. And to me, it is go inside and ask, what am I here for? What am I here to do? Show me what I'm here for. Show me my purpose. And, and then pay attention to what you're shown, because they will show you. So, yeah, don't try and fight to make something, that's somebody else's dream. Go in and figure out what your soul's dream is, what you're doing here, and then go with that. So, anyways, I've been talking and talking and talking. And I could talk and talk and talk more. So, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.